Yeah, well, a warm welcome back to Talk Norwich City. It is East Anglian Derby week. It's been a while since we've said that. I warmly welcome Benjamin Bloom back to the channel. You would have seen him on here, a month or so ago, Ben? It's been a little while, and sadly, not much has changed. Ipswich are still going very well, at the top of the table at time of recording, and Norwich City sort of struggling in the middle of the pack, really. I mean, the mood must be absolutely buzzing at your place at the moment.
Yeah, I'm going to say the stuff I said last time. I was at Watford last night, and we just seem to have had. I mean, you guys have had the good time, so you know all about it. So many of these, especially in away games, isn't it, where you get that moment at the end with the squad and that loyal fan base all coming together. But yeah, the hateful eight, as I called it, started with a defeat, 4 wins in a row now, and it just seems bewildering. I'm having this conversation where I'm telling you that year one parachute team Leeds lost last night, and they're now 10 points behind us, and that's the reality we're living in at the moment. But Jack, as you know, all reality, all form, and everything else goes out of the window for Derby Day at the weekend.
But you're right, Ben. I think the hope for Norwich fans would have been that. I mean, you've had a really tough set of fixtures coming into this. Also, a tough set coming out of it. Christmas in general looks quite difficult for Ipswich, but you've almost afforded yourself some slip-up space here, haven't you? I mean, as you say, Leeds haven't been a bad side this season. They've been going along quite nicely under Daniel Farke, but the start, I mean, it's the best start of any championship team ever from yourselves. I mean, it's not sustainable to continue at the rate of knots that you're going at, but you can almost afford to have a slip up here and there, can't you?
Well, you had this ridiculous thing, Jack, where you now play out the next 3 games, which are literally Norwich, Leeds, and Leicester. And there's almost an argument, you know what I'm about to say. If you were going to win 2 and lose one of them, you actually now desperately don't want to lose to Leeds, because that's the real. Obviously, 100 years of rivalry and however many decades we haven't beaten you since. But yeah, it's all very strange. We looked at this week as well, Jack, and it's a 3-game week. Really hard. I do accept that you guys are now playing a day later, but we've had the 2 away games at Middlesbrough and Watford, and won both of them, which is just fantastic. But yeah, it depends which conversation you're having. If you're having the conversation with yourself and the Norwich fans about a long period of dominance that we want to end, that's one thing. We're also embroiled in conversations with lots of Leeds fans every week saying, 7 points, 8 points. It's now 10 points. And I said before this horrible run of games, any lead I will take going into New Year's. And if we do the maths very, very quickly, if we just match Leeds and draw against them in the next game after Norwich, then it's going to be a big lead. And there's then the potential of a statement victory in any, each, or all of the next 3 games.
I can sense you starting to get slightly more carried away than you were a month ago. And I love it, Ben, because, it's you should be getting excited. Like, this is why we support football. Like, you've had so many years of, nothingness, I guess, to an extent, much like, what we're going through now. And that's not a pleasurable place to be. I watched your game against Watford, and I thought it was, because we've obviously played Watford recently. We went 2-0 up, we lost 3-2. You went behind, you won 2-1. I found the difference in-game management from McKenna. You said he made a change, hooked Brandon Williams off, and a few other little, little tinkers here and there. I just thought that was the perfect example of the difference in quality between our 2 head coaches at the moment, because I didn't think you were astonishingly good, but you got the job done, you found the way in front, and you stayed in front. And I thought that was really impressive, actually.
It's a team that just knows how to win now. I always remember your team in 2018-19, and I distinctly remember you had to go away to Middlesbrough, and I was playing a mate's wedding, and we were keeping tabs on it. And I jokingly said, it was like 0-0 at half time. I jokingly said, oh, Norwich are about to score their goal and win 1-0 in 10 minutes. And that is exactly what happened. And I sat there at Watford last night, and you're right. It was a coin flip game at about 60, 65 minutes. You're also right that they were very calm. And for the first time this season, we got the goal where you're playing out from the back and you stuff it up and you literally give a massive chance straight to the pressing team for no reason. But they're stuck with it. And the mentality as an Ipswich fan, I always remember we won at Aston Villa in this is how bad it's been, in 2017, 18. And that was monumental. We never beat anybody good away from home. And when we got the goal to win that game, it was like you'd won an FA Cup third round tie against the team 5 leagues above you. I sat there last night and actually thought, this team will probably get a goal and win this. That's just what they've been doing. And the muscle memory and you're right, wasn't much in it. But I'm going to quote the great philosopher that is Paul Merson, who I heard say once on Soccer Saturday. He said, I won two championships, and Arsenal played probably well for about 15 games across those 2 leagues. The rest of it is you just churn it out, you just win. You know, there's a team coming every week to stop you winning, and you don't blow everybody away every week. And you've seen 2 championship 46-game title winning seasons in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, if we go back to 2018. And a lot of it is, you go to Preston or whatever, it's Tuesday, and you just win by 1 goal, and that's what you do. And I think last night was a little bit like that.
What's the mindset in Ipswich Town fans' heads at the moment then, Ben? Because you've got this big lead and you haven't beaten us for a long while. I think it's 2009, wasn't it, the last? And I know there's been lots of seasons where we haven't been in the same league, but it's been a long while. And from, Norwich fans looking to you guys, I'm like, well, this is the opportunity for yourselves. It's not going to be, this won't come around too often in terms of you flying, us really struggling. Is there pressure? Like, that's a really weird thing to say, having not beaten us for so long. But like, is there pressure on yourselves to kind of get this done now?
Your question really pertains to the psychology of the fan that you're asking, because this game, we just discussed it on the Blue Monday podcast that you should check out, that Jack's going to be on Thursday night live at 8 p.m. Well, he's not going to be live because we just pre-recorded it. There you go. Just ruined that surprise, haven't I? But the way fans deal with this is just all about psychology and emotional coping mechanisms and stress. So you're going to get a lot of Ipswich fans who are going to play when I say play, I don't mean they're pretending. They're not. They're going to be playing this is it. I can see it. We're going to do it. We're going to nail Norwich and we're going to get this win that we've been waiting for forever. There's going to be people who are more like me as well, who are like, we are really, really strong favourites to win this, but there is no way I am counting a single chicken. Even if, you know what it's like, Jack, even if we're 3-0 up going into stoppage time at the end of the game, I'm going to be like, blow the whistle. I always remember, who was a rugby player who was on Question of Sport? Really funny guy. I can't remember his name.
Matt Dawson.
Is it Matt Dawson? Apparently, at the end of the Rugby World Cup, they've literally won the game, and he's so scared of fouling and knocking the ball on, he just lays down on the floor on the rugby pitch. That's how I'm going to be if we're leading this game. It's like, just do anything, kick the ball out of the stadium. My heart's already picking up thinking about it. So look, it's going to depend on the psychology of the fan you speak to. Look, football goes in cycles. If Ipswich don't beat Norwich at the weekend, in the short term, the cycle is still an uptrend for Ipswich, and Norwich have still got to integrate the new ownership model and the new sporting director. They've probably got to build a new team. And if your take is accurate, which it usually is, with a new manager at some point soon. So in the short term, please bloody win, and we can get that done. But in the long term, being very grounded about it. The trend up is fantastic. We've had the most amazing 2023. I don't know if you've seen the tweets today. 100 points, 100 goals in 2023 for just the year of absolute bliss. And Jack, the perfect way to finish the year of bliss would be with any kind of muggy, crappy, whatever, I don't care victory against Norwich. But yeah, it will just depend on the psychology of the person you're speaking to. I'm always going to be a little bit cautious. And contrary to the comments last time we spoke, I do not speak for all Ipswich Town fans. I'm just giving my opinion to my friend who just asked me, okay?
It's far better, though, Ben, if I title it in a way that you are speaking on the behalf of all Ipswich fans. Because if it, Ben Bloom is worried about...
Bloom slams all Ipswich fans, yeah.
There we go. That's the title for this video.
I did laugh.
I did laugh when I was watching kind of Ed Sheeran interrupt McKenna's interview. And you do get those moments, don't you, when you're a football fan and everything's going right, where you pinch yourself and you go, is this actually happening? I was watching that as someone that doesn't like the blue and white side of East Anglia, going, this is remarkable. What a strange, you would have never have seen this coming a couple of years ago, would you?
No, absolutely not. And you're obviously referring to the takeover, which is now, sort of two and a half years ago. And look, I'll be completely honest. There's been moments on the Blue Monday podcast where we've said, look, we've got this takeover, we've got all this money, we're in League One, and we still stuffing it up. I dare you, Norwich fans, go and watch the Blue Monday podcast from Valentine's Day this year, which is D-Day, when the run started. We just drew 0-0 at Bristol Rovers, and we're genuinely going, we're gonna be in the playoffs, or we're gonna miss the playoffs, and we're gonna be in League One forever. And this club is doomed and cursed to never do anything. So it's not been all perfect. I mean, from February the 15th, there's just, I'm sure you see the plethora of tweets every single week saying, oh, whatever percent win rate it is, whatever they've done. I've gone off on a complete tangent, but no, you could see a trend coming back, because without any sound of smugness, and this is with all respect to every club that's ever played in League One, which includes Norwich, which includes Leeds, which includes Forest, Sheffield Wednesday, Derby, it always felt like in the end they'd, just by sheer kind of force of the size of the club in respects of the comparison to League One, they'd get back. But no, to be on 51 points at game 21 in the Championship and top prior to Leicester inevitably beating Millwall tonight, madness.
Remarkable. Just quickly, Ben, before we wrap things up, talk to me about Sam Morsy, because he's the man who I keep hearing so much about. I thought he looked mightily impressive against Watford, as he has done all season. And I know there was a lot of concern around if he was to be booked against Watford, then he'd be out for this game. And that seemed like, I was reading a few sort of articles, and I think the games he has missed this season, you've either not won or lost. So
is it like Buendia in Norwich?
Yeah, literally. But like, is he that influential? Is he the difference maker in this side?
It's really hard to say, because he's never missing. And that was what you guys used to say about Buendia. It would be like, well, yeah, okay, you can show me 3 games where he hasn't played, but he literally never misses a game. And I would now, in the same position, make that defense, what a hypocrite I am, the same, I'd make that defense about Sam Morsy. What I would say about Sam Morsy is that and it's just more about Kieran McKenna, I watched him play for Wigan and Middlesbrough in the Championship, and he was playing for Neil Warnock and Paul Cook, and everyone thought, Morsy, he's an old Championship housery expert, just a hatchet man. And you've just said to me, cultured midfielder, spinning on the ball, changing the play, and that's what Kieran McKenna has done to it. Cameron Burgess signed as a just huge kick-it centre half, and he's never giving the ball away and playing beautiful passes out from the back. We signed the keeper from Salford, and he looks like he's, okay, mistake last night. Yes, must acknowledge that to be self-aware properly. But yeah, so we were very worried I think you've used the word emotion many times. I think having Morsey missing, he would be able to put a cap on, keep everybody calm, keep the standards going, and lead that would have been the leader out of the team. And put it this way: if he had missed the game and you go and win the game, what's everybody going to say? Oh, it's because Morsey was missing. So fingers crossed, he's gonna be there. And to be fair to him, he was on 9 yellow cards for weeks coming up to the amnesty at the end of last season, and he never got himself booked. It's almost like these Housery players can turn it on and off, isn't it?
That makes it even more impressive, if anything.
Yeah. I used to listen to Robbie Savage, Jack, and he used to say, why did I get 100 yellow cards but never get sent off? You know, it's like, well, I knew when to stop. Maybe Morsey's the same. Cue Morsey smash someone after 5 minutes and get a red card. Now there you go.
just to finally, Ben, I mean, you're known almost as much now as sort of a Championship pundit as opposed to an Ipswich Town fan, which is brilliant. And for those that haven't checked out your channel, I know that most of my followers do already watch you, but head over. It's absolutely brilliant. Have you been surprised that Norwich City haven't made more, a change quicker with David Wagner? Because we've seen plenty of managerial sackings already in the Championship. Alex Neil, the most recent at Stoke City. I know they're in a slightly worse position, but has that surprised you somewhat?
It's a really tough one, Jack. Watching your content and taking the temperature from that, yes. Speaking to Norwich fans that are on my Patreon and our WhatsApp group, they agree with you. Norwich historically are cautious. That's not fair. That makes
no. I think that's fair.
I don't mean that in a derogatory manner. That they're scared to make a decision. Sensible. I would say have been sensible with managerial. I was surprised that they went quite so early on Dean Smith. That felt different for Norwich. We've seen them wait until the playoffs are impossible with the likes of Alex Neil before, and then okay, we gave you the run at the whole season, and there's so many moving parts, Jack, that you almost can't treat it like a normal Championship club because you've got this slow-moving takeover. You've got a new head of sport, and if I heard your comment correctly, you've got his contract expires in January.
So I think I'm not it's too clued up with the legalities, but it's a rolling contract. So I think it essentially means that it's 12 months from the point of now at any point, if you know what I mean. So I don't think the contract situation is necessarily anything to do with it. I might be wrong there. Yeah.
No. I don't know myself, but yeah, there's just loads and loads of moving parts there. So what I would say is I don't believe, based on the players in the Norwich squad, that they are perhaps, it might only be a few places out, because like you've said on your channel, there's been a few Rizzler paper coin flip wins in Norwich's favour recently, hasn't there, where they could have gone the other way. And then strangely, you've had games that you've then drawn where you probably should have won. So it's all a bit murky. What I will say is, when you see a fan base and they kind of lose faith in the manager, there's not normally coming back from that. It's hard to come back from that, isn't it? When that away end is gone. And I feel, and you can correct me from the outside, that it does look a little bit like, even if he wins every game 3-0, what's the Margaret Thatcher quote? If I breezed in, they'd criticise me for not walking on water or something. It feels like if he won 3-0, it would be 4-0. I realise I've just quoted the most unpopular prime minister of the last century. So apologies to any left-leaning people there. But my point was that whatever he does, I think now he's going to be damned, isn't he?
I think you've got fairly big odds on Margaret Thatcher being a mention in this in this preview, I must say. I think it just
came into my head. Sorry.
When you mention, the likes of Morsey and the other players you've signed Ben, and the ability that, you know, McKenna's had to turn that around. That's my frustration when I hear people going, well, you know, the Norwich squad isn't up to much and you're probably where you belong, because actually, like, any player to a degree can transition and become a better player under a better head coach. And that, you know, Ipswich Town are the perfect example of that. I think if you were to show a Premier League fan the Ipswich Town starting 11, would they know any of them?
Well,
Probably
Jack,
not. Right.
what I would say to you is list me the central midfielders in Norwich's 18-19 season. It was like Tom Tribal, Kenny McLean. Who was the other? Morris Leitner.
I was really hoping you weren't then going to say, name me the Ipswich Town midfield in 2018.
Mate, that team was just horrific. Someone tweeted a screenshot of the game we drew in September. It's an awful. The point I was going to make, though, is it didn't matter who played central midfield for Norwich in 2018-19, because you had, you know, a goal machine up front, one of the best players the league's seen down the right wing, two marauding fullbacks, a brilliant pattern of play, and a brilliant manager. So, you know, it kind of becomes immaterial in the end if the coaching is good, and you guys have seen that firsthand, haven't you?
Well, with the thought of Timu Puki and Emi Buendia fresh on the mind, we'll end things there, Ben. A real pleasure, as always. We'll link both your own channel and Blue Monday down in the description below. I probably wouldn't recommend Norwich fans watching it after the game. I suspect it'll be lots of gloating and happy Ipswich fans. So there we go. Ben, thanks as always, mate. Stay safe on Saturday, whatever mischief you get up to, and try and enjoy the game.
It's not going to happen. I've already told you, even at 3-0 up, I will still be feeling sick in my stomach. But yes, I will say what I always say through gritted teeth. Good luck. May the best team win. Please be Ipswich.